In this video, I'm going to test Remington HyperSonic Steel ammunition through a variety of choke tubes. But I think we're going to learn a lot more than just which choke gives us the tightest pattern. George here with the New Hunter's Guide, and today we're going to test one of the fastest production loads on the market for waterfowl hunting. It is the fastest load that I know of, or at least that I can remember, and that is the Remington HyperSonic Steel ammunition. Let's go ahead and look at the specs on this ammo. You can see here we've got number 4 shot today, 1 1/4 ounces, 268 pellets. Now, George, where did you get that pellet number? That came straight off of Remington's website. Our velocity is 1,700 feet per second. Now, that is significantly higher than the average waterfowl load. A lot of what I've been seeing and testing these days has been around 1,500 feet per second. Some may be a little slower, some a little faster. Of course, there's a wide field of variation, but I'm seeing the average is probably around 1,500. So this is 200 feet per second above that average of 15. Now that is fast. That's very fast. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that speed in a moment. Recoil-wise, we're at 46.9 foot-pounds of recoil, and that is significant recoil. How significant is it? Well, I'm going to talk about it more a little later in the video after we take some shots with it. Now, guys, this particular ammunition is something that's always been of interest for me. For a couple of years, I have wanted to test this, but I've just never found or purchased a box. And one of you guys sent me some shells for testing. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And there's some really interesting things here about steel shot, especially high velocity steel shot, some assumptions that I want to put to the test today. But let's look at the choke tubes that we're going to use for this particular test. You can see we've got a set of Trulock choke tubes. I've got Precision Hunter, Improved Cylinder, and Modified. And then the Trulock Super Waterfowl full number 1 and full number 2. Now, the Super Waterfowl full number 1 is the exact same constriction of a regular full choke, and the Super Waterfowl full number 2 is the exact same constriction of an extra full choke, at least for this shotgun. When it comes to Trulock's regular line of hunting choke tubes, you cannot use full or extra full with steel shot. You've got to get the Super Waterfowl chokes in order to do that. However, I have found some challenges with finding full or extra full chokes for this particular shotgun that can be used with steel shot, because even the stock full choke that came with this waterfowl hunting shotgun is not rated for steel. But that is another story for another video. Now, when we're looking at this hypersonic steel load, there's some things that I've been hearing for a while that this test is going to kick the tires on. Number 1 is this. I've been hearing that the higher velocity your load is, the worse it's going to pattern, the more blown out the patterns are be. You keep upping that velocity, your pattern's just going to get worse and worse. So at the fastest load on the market, we should probably see the worst patterns on the market. However, just sheer logic leads me to believe that that can't be completely true, because Remington keeps making this ammunition. And if it was the worst patterning load on the market, then why would they do that? Other people say the tighter you choke steel shot, the worse it's going to pattern. So if we have the highest velocities on the market and the tightest choke tubes you might use for waterfowl hunting, we should have patterns that are so bad no one should ever use this ammunition. But again, would they really keep making it if that was just always across the board true? So we're going to put this through a variety of choke tubes, and I want to see what the pattern response is. The goal here is not to find what is the best choke tube on the planet for this particular ammo, but what's the pattern response like? If we continue to increase constriction, will we continue to get tighter patterns, or will we have a particular constriction that's the tightest pattern and then it gets worse after that? However, your choke tube selection really only makes a difference if you can find birds to hunt. And that's where Trophy Tracks comes in, the sponsor of this video. Trophy Tracks is a hunting journal app with predictive modeling capabilities. It can become the central location where you store all of your hunting data. So every time you see a bird, hear a bird, harvest a bird, you pull up the map, pick the location and the time, and Trophy Tracks will bring in lots of other data points like temperature, wind speed, cloud cover, and the more info you pull in, the more it's able to develop predictive models for when you're more more likely to find game in the places that you actually hunt. And the more you use trophy tracks, the more seasons you use it, the more accurate that modeling becomes. And of course, it works for hunting deer, turkeys, upland game, elk, and lots more. And maybe more exciting than all of that, you can use trophy tracks for free. And I don't just mean a free 2-week trial either. It's available for Apple and Android. Just go wherever you download your apps, search for Trophy Tracks, download it today for free, and start using it. Thank you, Trophy Tracks. All right, let's head down to the range and get this test started. And I have made it down to the range, got the improved cylinder choke tube loaded up here. We're gonna take our first shot with the HyperSonic Steel. All right, we'll switch choke tubes and hit it again. Now I've got the modified choke tube loaded up. I'll go change paper and chokes. Now I have the F1 choke tube, which is the full. And one more choke to go. And last, I have the F2 choke tube, which is the extra full. So you may be wondering, George, what kind of recoil do these loads have? Is it really that heavy? Well, guys, actually, I was expecting more. It is a little bit high on the recoil scale compared to maybe your regular steel loads, but it's not as high as I was expecting. It actually feels relatively manageable. Let's go ahead and take a look at these targets. I have all 4 of these targets laid out here, and they are just riddled with hypersonic holes. Guys, I'm actually very surprised with the results that I'm about to show you. Now, I have drawn a 30-inch-ish circle over the densest part of the core pattern of each. No, the pellet counts may not be 100% exact, but I do my best to make things as fair and accurate as possible. Let's jump in and take a look. Up first, we've got the improved cylinder choke tube. Look at these holes. Guys, are you seeing this pattern? 40 yards improved cylinder. Modified choke tube. Really good pattern here. Keep in mind, this is hypersonic velocity ammunition. This stuff is not supposed to pattern this good. Then we've got full choke tube. Look at this pattern, even with full. Very nice. Drill in closer here. Really good pattern. Then we've got the extra full. Look at this, guys. Really nice pattern on the extra full. Drill in closer. Again, extra full. Not supposed to pattern this tight at all. All right, so what I'm gonna do is pull that data together for you guys, get into a chart with the exact numbers here momentarily. Well, I found those patterns and the data that I'm about to share with you very surprising. This is not how I thought this test was going to go. But if you've been finding this video helpful or interesting, why don't you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribing wouldn't hurt either. Let's jump in and look at the data. You can see here, improved cylinder gave us 174 pellets inside of the circle at 40 yards. 174. Then the modified choke tube, 151. Now this is really weird. Why would modified be less? Our full number 1, which is the equivalent of a full choke tube, 167, so it rebounds some. And then the full number 2, which is the equivalent of an extra full, 175. So the extra full choke tube gave us the tightest pattern of all of the chokes that we tested. But what's really interesting here is the improved cylinder was just 1 pellet behind the extra full choke tube. Now, we only fired 1 shot with each choke, right? So could be who knows what happened there. But the bottom line is, look at these patterns, okay? This is 1,700 feet per second. This is really fast. How many pellets do you need in a 30-inch circle to kill a duck? My rule of thumb that I like to use is 100 pellets. Your rule of thumb could be different. So every one of these gives us way more pellets than the minimum would be. All right, we're seeing a phenomenon here that is very different from what a lot of people have said should happen with this ammunition. These are really good patterns. The tighter choke tube gave us the best patterns. Now, which choke tube is best? I don't think we can easily conclude which choke tube is the most useful, even in an average situation. I might go with the modified choke tube just because it's at the bottom there and I'm going to get bigger patterns, which is going to give me more margin. Now, if I'm hunting at long range, which I don't normally recommend you do with steel, then I might go with the full choke. The improved cylinders kind of leaving me scratching my head. If I were you, I would absolutely test your choke tubes to see what happens if you're able to replicate that phenomenon or if that's just a fluke. But the bottom line here, guys, this ammunition looks very, very viable for duck hunting, okay? Very tight patterns, way more pellets than you need. The big question is, does that extra 1,700 feet per second and the recoil that it generates and the extra expense that comes with it give you an advantage in terms of ballistics penetration? Well, I'm going to do a video and test that soon, and when it's done, I will go ahead and put that right here. In the meantime, you might want to see some other testing that I've done about slow and regular velocity steel loads right here. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and go get 'em in the woods.